improved leaps and bounds, and I already thought he was great then. He has improved so much, but he is going to have to bring more than just his skill if he wants to pry that championship away from Dan Maff.
Well, if you ask JT Dunn, what's allowed him to improve so much is he shed this idea that he needs to be somebody, a certain image for the fans. He's grasped and realized who he truly is. Kind of an a-hole. But you know what? Let's be honest. It's kind of working for him. He's in this title match. We'll see if he can get the job done just 3 days shy of Dan Maff's 2-year anniversary as champion.
The reign of the Northeast Wrestling Heavyweight Champion has only been topped by Brian Anthony in the past as far as the number of days consecutively held. So for Dan Maff, that is actually the last thing on his mind. He doesn't care about 730, 750, 800, 10,000. He doesn't care about the number. He cares about taking it out in blood on JT Dunn.
These fans in his corner. We have seen this rivalry escalate between Maff and JT Dunn and Big Bacon, and this could be an apex of that situation here because the stakes simply could not be higher.
And the thing that's so intriguing on top of everything about this matchup for me is that these two were not only born to be in the big-time spotlight, but they also worked their way toward that as well. These guys are not afraid of the big moment. They are not afraid of the spotlight. And for both these men, this is the biggest moment of their career. Dan Maff with a clear and distinct size advantage, but that has never held Dunn back. As much as we don't like his attitude, we agree on that. The one thing we cannot say is that he's not extremely talented.
No, he's talented, and if you're not sure about that, just ask him. He'll tell you all about it.
That's a fair point. Back in the face of Dan Maff, he has faced very big opponents in his time here in Northeast Wrestling, and he's about to find out he just slapped the bull awake.
And now he's got something very dangerous to contend with, and he knows it. JT Dunn knows exactly what he's doing. The question is, will it pay off in the end?
Chop in the corner by Maff, the reigning NEW heavyweight champion, bringing the heavyweight style to JT Dunn here in the opening minutes of our contest, as Maff not afraid to go the distance if he has to, but he would much prefer that big knockout blow first.
Well, you called it. All the months, all the frustrations, everything that has happened between these two. Dan Maff letting it all hang out. He's showing and releasing that anger all over JT Dunn.
Oh boy. Maff has JT Dunn, and he has him flying in the air on the fall away slam. Nicely done by the champion.
If this was JT Dunn's plan A, he better have a plan B, Paul.
He better have plan C, D, E, F. JT Dunn, that's the thing about him. We joke about it, but he does. He has all of those plans, and he is so adaptable in the heat of the moment, so that is something Dan Maff has to try to stuff very early on.
Effortless, physical dominance, another fall-away slam, just dissecting JT Dunn.
Dan Maff, the one thing he has shown as well, that if he wants to take his time, if he wants to let everything soak in, he is not afraid to take a breather. Let things brew before he makes his next strike. Dunn lands on his feet, and there is a chop block to the back of the knee, and that is what we were talking about with having all sorts of different plans. JT Dunn saw an opening, he took it, and now Dan Maff could be in deep trouble.
An opportunist, if there ever was one. JT Dunn now, you know, he's got his game plan in mind. That target, a bullseye, that knee.
Kicking the leg out from under Dan Maff. JT Dunn now turning his attention toward the crowd momentarily before facing the champion down, as I had mentioned, back in 2019, holding the Northeast Wrestling Heavyweight Championship, but now looking to take it back, not only for himself, but for Brad Hollister.
I know if you ask him, I'm sure JT Dunn would admit that, yeah, he held the gold a couple of years ago, but he didn't hold it nearly as long as he thought. That championship reign coming to an abrupt end back at Six Flags in New Jersey. Darby Allin upending him as a surprise challenger for that title on that occasion. But I think that just made JT Dunn even more of a bitter soul, quite frankly, in his efforts to want to get back on the mountain.
Right on the money. And speaking of right on the money, JT Dunn going right after that knee. That is why he is so dangerous. He sees a target, he acquires it, and he strikes. But you're right. The last two champions, it ties right back to JT Dunn. JT Dunn to Darby Allin to Dan Maff. And JT Dunn held that title 3 years ago now. So it is not an easy title to pry away from a champion, as recent history has shown. But for JT Dunn, history doesn't matter anymore. This is the big moment. He has been ready for the big spot, and it looks like he is taking it to Dan Maff.
You know that wherever he may be tonight, Big Bacon Brad Hollister watching on, supporting his partner in crime, so to speak. These two supporting each other in their mutual quest to pry the championship away from the Bayonne Badass. And he may be well on his way as JT Dunn.
JT Dunn now taking his time, just like Maff was doing earlier, but he may not want to do that as Dan Maff is stirring, and there is a double stomp right to the center of the back. And we said he saw the target, he acquired it in the knee, but he may have just added the lower back to all of his different plans.
You listen to this negative response from the crowd. JT Dunn, he's not running from it. It's almost as if he thrives on it. He lives on spite, and he loves nothing more than to rub his success in the faces of those who have not supported him along the way.
And there's been a lot of support for Dan Maff in recent months. The NEW faithful were not very high on him in the early going, but something changed along the ways. He really opened his eyes to how much the fans were taking to him, showing his respect for their work ethic, just like he has inside of that ring. And things turned in a hurry. But now, the only thing on his mind is that knee and that lower back, because JT Dunn keeps reminding him that he is in control.
Of course, as Dan Maff knows very well by now, JT Dunn, despite a size disadvantage here, pound for pound, one of the hardest, most devastating strikers in the game today. So if he can find that moment, that space to unleash with that death by elbow or any of those knockout shots that he's so well known for, unbelievably, this could be a knockout situation.
He just psyched out a little kid, and he's proud of himself. That's what you talked about. He's a lowlife. He's a dirtbag.
It's the real JT Dunn finally coming out after all these years. He's just being himself, as embarrassing as that probably should be for him.
But it is not. It is bred confidence in a weird way. The way he is walking around this ring, taking his time to jaw-jack at the fans instead of focusing on Dan Maff. Think about that. Maff has been a force here at Northeast Wrestling, and JT Dunn almost taking it in stride at this point.
Letting the moment breathe. This is a man who's probably been dreaming about this opportunity for quite some time, certainly since this match was announced. What a place to make history here at this packed
cover. Hold on. Sorry to cut you off there, but making the cover on the lateral press. And now attacking that knee and that leg once again.
No, it's a smart play. Again, Dunn continually thinking he's going to go for that win wherever and whenever he can, even in an unconventional moment.
And he may have to stray from that that conventional offensive arsenal, because if that knee is not going to get the job done, he may have to rethink his strategy. But right now, it looks like that knee could be the key to victory, as there is the figure 4 leg lock in the center of the ring. This is a move that has won world championships all across the globe. JT Dunn locking it in the center of the ring. An insult to injury, going after the nose as he has it locked in.
Boy, that smile getting wider and wider on the face of the challenger. He had really better hope to continue this trend of being in the driver's seat.
Shoulders down.
Oh.
It was almost a 3. The pain was almost so much that he couldn't get his shoulders off the mat, but able to will himself up. Shoulder up again. And how many times have we seen that in the past? That has also won plenty of matches over the years. So Dan Maff fighting through that pain as JT Dunn looking to maintain control.
Never say die, the toughness of the Bayonne Badass coming through, and he is absolutely defiant in the face of pain, in the face of suffering, in the face of JT Dunn. He's got to find a way to fight out of this.
Going after that bottom rope is Dan Maff. Has his fingers on it but can't grip it, cannot get there, and he got it.
JT Dunn's plan to perhaps hold this figure 4 leg lock a lot longer foiled. He's going to have to go back to the drawing board, and he doesn't like it.
Starting to throw a temper tantrum in the middle of the ring, but that is just another side of JT Dunn's personality that has cost him in the past. But in this big moment, needs to focus if he wants to get that championship away from Maff, because Maff, if he gets a shred of an opening, he is going to pounce.
He's looking for it now. Those right hands not coming in at full strength, but they're certainly making their mark, making their impression. Oh, look at this.
Right hands by Dunn as these two are slugging it out, and there is another kick to the knee. Dan Maff was looking to defend strikes with the hands, but instead JT Dunn switches directions and takes the knee out once again.
Yeah, brilliant misdirection again. Like it or not, JT Dunn on his game. This could be the match of his life, and what is he doing?
A shout out to a legend before he tries this figure 4 leg lock. But Dan Maff was waiting. There goes Dunn out to the floor. And here's Maff's opening, but can even stand on 2 feet.
The champion's got nothing but grit and will to win to depend on here.
Going back in the ring, Maff hits him with the clothesline. There is another. The champion is up and he is fighting. There's the senton.
He's bobbling. His leg is still giving him a whole lot of trouble, but he's working around it as best as he can. The champion's going to use whatever weapons he has left at his disposal.
Maff has him in the corner. The champion clawing back into this fight on one leg as the challenger reeling in the corner. Can Maff go the extra mile to put this one away?
Oh my!
Wow. There's one way to make sure he stays still. We've seen this cannonball before, but we haven't seen it on one leg, Jerry.
I don't know if this is an advisable move, but he's feeling it. There's no turning back now for Dan Maff.
Calling for it. JT Dunn got to his feet. Now back in the corner. Maff charges, misses. German suplex by Dunn. Rolls through, gonna try the cover, but runs into one from the champion. Will he retain? Shoulder up at the last second. By the skin of his teeth, JT Dunn getting that shoulder up. And we carry on here in this all-important title match at the MJN Convention Center.
A more impactful diamond cutter we've probably never ever seen, filled with malice and all of the anger and hatred that the champion has towards JT Dunn, but not enough to put him away. He's got to have a plan here, and you know what he's thinking.
Burning hammer incoming from Maff. If he hits this, it's over. Lands on his feet, does Dunn. Another German suplex attempt blocked by Dan Maff. There's the cannonball.
Every inch of it, every pound of it, he got it all.
He got all of it. But what can he do after this on one leg? He has to dig deep. Pops him up. Looked like a powerbomb attempt instead of Poison Rana from Dunn.
Wide open for that one. He landed right on his head. He could be out on his feet now.
Hits a spear instead, and JT Dunn His soul was almost ripped from his body on that spear by the champion.
The challenger is laying wasted, and the champion is too beaten down to do much about it. Both men are in dire straits here, Paul.
This is the moment. This is the time. This is gut check central for both Maff and Dunn here in this all-important title matchup here at WrestleFest 26. Up to 5. Both men stirring. Maff looks to be the better of the two at this point as he is making his way to his feet, and he is up.
He's been digging down deep for damn near 2 years. Can he find a way to do it again, even limping as he is?
729 days. Will he make it to 730? Dunn is looking to end that reign here at WrestleFest. But now, a slugfest breaking out.
It doesn't matter what's happened up until now at this point. Who's got more left in the tank?
Back and forth they go. Dunn with a chop. Forearm chop. He is letting it all hang out here. Gonna try that elbow. What's he going for? A destroyer from Dunn. A destroyer from Dunn. Got all of it. Is the reign over? Maff out at 2. Dunn looks like he saw a ghost, and I don't blame him. He got all of that one, but there is a reason why Maff is where he is.
JT Dunn he can't understand, he can't comprehend what happened right now. That was a home run shot, a play of the game, and it was not enough to put down Dan Maff, not yet.
He's looking to that elbow. That has to be. It has to be the way that he puts Dan Maff out, because he has tried every single thing else that he could think of, but it has to be the elbow.
Back to your bread and butter, back to what brought you to the dance. JT Dunn, he's talking, he's prepping.
Off the ropes. Death by elbow to the back of the head.
He never saw it coming, Paul.
He's out. He is out. We have a new champion. No. How? Dan Maff unable to get any defense up with that death by elbow to the back of the head, and still JT Dunn is the challenger instead of the champion.
And JT Dunn now, boy, he is having an emotional explosion here. He may be out of ideas. His playbook may runneth dry, so to speak. Where do you go from here?
He just said it. How do I beat him? How does he do it? Dan Maff is out, but still had enough left to get the shoulder up. And JT Dunn trying to talk his confidence back into himself. He's saying, I'm the best. How does this happen?
Well, this one-man therapy session better end quickly.
Oh, boy. Has him up. Is it? Is it going to be? Burning hammer. No!
What?
JT Dunn out at 2, and Dan Maff in absolute shock and horror as he still has yet to figure out how to end JT Dunn.
He does not like the challenger, not one damn bit, but he has to respect the efforts that he's facing here today. He's being taken further than he's been taken in the last 2 years.
Is it going to be one more? Dunn lands on his feet, sweeps the legs, tries that figure 4. Rear naked choke. And you have to remember that knee has been damaged, shoulders down, so he maybe can't wrap those legs around. Wait. Oh, headbutt to the back of the head. Multiple headbutts, unprotected shots to the back of the head. That choke is cinched in. Dunn is going out.
nasty, rough.
He is going out, and that is it. Dan Maff has retained.
Here's your winner, by submission, and still Northeast Wrestling Champion, the Bayonne Badass, Danny Maff.
It took everything he had and then some. Dan Maff, one burning hammer was not enough. He needed the rear naked choke to put JT Dunn out and retain the